frequency changes. And for me, it's not what they look like. It is the frequency exchange between a human being and an extraterrestrial or interdimensional. We are at a very low frequency and they are at a much higher frequency. And the what you feel when you're face to face with them is incredible. It's between a euphoric high and extreme fear, all balled up in one. And your brain does not know what to do with this. It's like, whoa, because
am
you
I
never,
seeing this?
there's nothing like that else in the world. So that's why most people just bam, fear. And once fear sets in, they don't remember really anything else other than that. But the brain will try to fill in those missing gaps and pieces. And it's with the programming that they've received in their life, and it's like you said, from the minute we are born, we are programmed to think, to live and think a certain way. And so now we're at this point in time where we have to realize that we need new ways of thinking, new ways of living. Our world is changing. Earth is going through an ascension herself. Our world is changing. We are changing, and our old ways, these old programming ways, no longer serve humanity. Wars are of no service to humanity. Negativity is of no service to humanity. So as we go up our DNA ladder, just like the extraterrestrials and other races and beings have done throughout universes, different universes, these negative aspects of their species falls off because it just simply doesn't serve. And they learn to come together as one in unity and work together. And that's what they're looking for us to do, is finally come together as one. And the problem has always been that dark forces have kept humanity separated for eons. And this goes way, way back in history. You know,
Tell
uh,
me.
separation of languages, separation of religions, separating us.
Striking down
Everything
the
was,
Tower of Babel.
yes, everything was done to keep humanity apart because
Factions.
these elites and people always knew that when we reach this point, and if we ever all come together as one, we're unstoppable.
There's no
There's
limit.
no going backwards. Once you start getting into the reaching higher frequencies,
And
it
what's gonna
feels
happen?
good.
Yeah,
What
and I'm and it really does
when you
make
start raising your frequency, you can feel it. To me, you know how people that run great distance and they say they get that adrenaline rush? This is
yes,
kind of like that. You get
right.
that unbelievable thing. It's like your body rewards you for good behavior. So
Yes.
you continue on that cycle and you eventually train yourself into seeing beautiful, positive thoughts rather than having the programmed negative thoughts. And what I would do is when I first would, naturally get these negative thoughts, I'd replace it with two positive. And so basically we have to work within. We individually have to work on ourselves, figure out who we are. For me, I am not the Nancy Timms that the world around me created. I am the Nancy Timms that came here. I found my soul self, my inner self, the one that came here with a purpose. I didn't come here to play the programmed game. I came here to educate people and end the game. It is time for humanity to start enjoying the human experience. Whether we remember it or not, we all made a choice to come to Earth and be a part of this. And we all chose to be here now. And we're all a part of this evolutionary phase that we're going through. And that's why I like to say we are the disclosure. Human beings are the disclosure. We are waking up, reaching higher levels of consciousness, and we're going to use our intelligence in different ways. We're going to learn to do things that help all of humanity, not just let these elites be in control and manipulate us. And they've showed me how we can use AI because they just look at it. They told me AI is a man made tool. We keep it as a man made tool. We do not let certain fractions of government or elites only control that. It was made and intended for humanity.
Open
And there's
source.
ways that we can use it to better our lives. And it will not take away jobs, it will create new jobs. And it will also show us how we can work less hours and not focus so much on all of the material things, but learn to have more time with family. Yeah.
Yes, it'll take away. It'll, as I see it, artificial intelligence, I don't see as a bad thing.
It
Even as
depends on how it's used. Yeah.
right, it does depend on it is depending on how it's used and how it's developed.
Mhm.
Right, you're absolutely right. It needs to be
Yeah.
something that's open sourced, but you could say that about everything. Open source alternative energy. That will be the key to unlocking, um, the end of war and the end. So, do you think? I mean, do you? David Grush talks about how we've already solved that problem basically. If we're reverse engineering UFOs and we have that technology hidden in the military industrial complex, um,
Well,
what's stopping it from coming out on the battle or the
I don't
theater of
think we can. I don't think we can reverse their technology, and I'll tell you why. Their craft are living conscious beings. They have a
all
consciousness, and so their pilots are designed. Their DNA, they are created to be the pilot. They are bonded with that craft. Nobody else can fly it because they are bonded. So the pilot gets in, he or she, and thinks destination where they want to go, and their consciousness link up, and bam, they go. They don't use fuels and propulsion and
right,
things like that.
yeah,
And their technology, like for example, I'll give you an example. You and I are talking on technology. I'm on a laptop, you're on your computer, whatever. But our technology is a separate entity that we carry around with us. Okay.
right.
In
You're
their
saying that.
reality, in their reality, their consciousness is their technology, and they can manifest whatever they want with their higher consciousness, and they travel that way too.
So what are these? I had Danny Sheehan on the podcast,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously you know who he is. He's
Yeah.
a renowned Harvard attorney.
Yep.
Um, he had mentioned that he knows of 5 different alien civilizations visiting Earth. Um, do, do you agree with that number?
Well, I'd say there's more than that. Where I go is to a mothership, and there's the interdimensionals.
Where you go
Yes,
specifically?
yes, I go to a mothership. I'm on a mothership, and there are many different races, and they're all working towards assisting and helping humanity. Okay. So the interdimensionals are 7 to 8 foot tall. They're luminescent. They have a few humanistic look, but they are not human. They are more like what people in the Bible days would call the shiny ones. Okay.
The sh-
Kind of like that. Kind of
oh,
like that.
so
Okay.
they glimmer.
Yeah. And so then there's the tall grays. There's different grays. I've met reptilians, I've met aquatic beings, I call them humanoid looking beings. I don't ask them, what are you? Because in that reality, they do not use names or labels. Everyone's frequency is their signature. And that's how they find me wherever I am, is through my frequency. I've lived in Australia, I've lived in Hawaii, I live in Mississippi now. Wherever I go, wherever I live, they find me through my frequency, and that's how I communicate with them, is through my consciousness and my frequency.
So
So
so what you're saying is we all have what you would say is a cosmic signature,
yes,
our whatever is
yes,
our resonant frequency.
it has a signature to it, but we can raise that frequency. We can raise it to a higher vibrational state, which gets us up closer to where they are. And that's what's happening. This is part of our evolution. We are the human species is escalating up into higher frequency. And that is going to make us not only more aware and see more, but it makes us a little more compatible with them too. Yeah.
So what is why? Okay. We all say, or we're all waiting for the day that the Phoenix Lights happens, but it's in broad daylight. It's over Washington, D.C., and aliens come down and, introduce themselves with a handshake. Why isn't that happening? And
Because
why is abduction happening?
the first question, because humans try to humanize everything. They are not human. Just because we do things a certain way and we have our position, our mannerism or whatever, that does not apply to them. They are who they are. We are who we are. And we have got to stop trying to humanize everything, trying to name and label and all these things, because in their reality, they do not individualize. They are all one, they are all connected. So, and that's the way they see us. And they are not here to put on a performance, they are not here to show off. So, that's another reason too, because they've manifested themselves in the craft to me. And I would never just stop the car and go take pictures or anything, because I know through my connections with them, that was for me. That was not for the rest of the world, because the world needs to do their part on their own, work on themselves. And when we all start doing this, then they will open up more to us individually. So they're not going to do a performance, So we have to understand they are a billion years ahead of us in evolution. Our physics does not apply. Our means of travel, propulsion, fuels, etc., our technology, which there is no separate entity for their technology. Their consciousness is there. It's all in one,
Right.
So there is no humanizing anything about them. And I think that's the government knows this. And that's why.
The secrecy?
Yes, it has to be, because it would be in their best interest not to expose their vulnerabilities, because they have no control over it and there's nothing they can do about it. So
right.
Why would the United States let other foreign countries know what we know? Why show our vulnerabilities when really it's not a threat to us, but the fact that one country might, in other words, one country doesn't want to show its vulnerabilities to other countries, and also to its people, because who do we look to protect us and save us from everything? Our government.
Right. It's a quid pro quo between the civilians and the government is, I'll pay taxes, you protect us.
Exactly.
That is it. If you can't protect us, that's what I mean. And I was hoping you'd say.
But think about this too. Think about this. Okay. So if they know what I know, that we're going through an evolution, okay, and people's awareness, which means we will have more than just the five senses to understand the world around us. And I'm not saying this is going to happen overnight. It has to happen in a slow, beautiful, divine way, just like in our creation. Otherwise, it would overload our brains. We wouldn't be able to handle it. But
so almost like a butterfly.
Yes.
I mean, a caterpillar needing to
Yes.
struggle in the cocoon.
Yes, exactly.
They can't just, if you rip open the cocoon early, you'll actually kill the butterfly.
Exactly. It's exactly like that. So they're sitting back, and this is what the extraterrestrials and interdimensionals say to me as I go out and speak. And, there's lots of times people, it just seems impossible to get through to them, but they always encourage me and say, let evolution do its job. Let it do its job. Continue on your path. Stay strong. Stick to what you're doing. But the world will start waking up, because it's part of our evolution. And I'm sure that's what the government is doing too. If I know this, surely they know this. So they're like, why go out here and say all this stuff and people run around acting retarded and crazy when evolution perhaps is going to help us with this. And our